The final quarter, again, another Ohio State fan. They love to ask questions on my Discord server. He asks, what will be better, the Penn State rushing offense or the Penn State passing offense? This is a fascinating question, and I will give you a interesting answer, an answer that I think will be quite shocking for much of you. Penn State returns 76% of their 2024 offensive production, and they have the number 3 preseason offense per Bill Connolly's S&P Plus that was just updated about a week or two ago. I believe, I'm just going to answer this straight up and then give some justifications for it, that Penn State's rushing offense will be better. But I also think the passing offense, looking at the wide receivers, looking at Allar, looking at the tight ends, the running backs, and Kotelnicki, I think the passing offense, in terms of efficiency, will probably be top 10 in America. I just think the rushing offense is going to be number 1 in America. This is going to be one of the best offenses in the country for Penn State. Make sure, if you haven't already, before we resume, to subscribe, hit the bell, like the video, hit the bell for the Penn State Football podcast as well so you can get notified whenever I release another Penn State video. We've been talking about Penn State quite a bit here on College Football with Sam, and I love it because I'm very high on him, and I think I have very many reasons, a plethora of reasons to be high on Penn State this year. Allar was top 20 in America in QBR last year, was more aggressive, took more risks, had above a 150 passer rating, did not do well in big games. He didn't. But being in Kotelnicki's system for a second year, I think, is really going to benefit him. Really going to benefit him. And then they bring in Trevor Pena, who had a little over 900 receiving yards. They bring in Devontae Ross, who had over 1,000 yards. Kyron Hudson had a few hundred. Luke Reynolds, Andrew Rappelia, and Khalil Dinkins, I think, are ready to step up a lot at tight end. Allar had 3,327 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, 8 picks, and a 153.5 passer rating. I'd expect his passer rating to be in the 160s, maybe even 170s this year, depending on how the offense pans out. The reason I have the rushing offense as a superior unit is the Nittany Lions return center Nick Dawkins, Olia Vega Ione at guard, Cooper Cousins at guard, who played limited last year, close, I think, 5-star of high school. Everyone's high on him and optimistic about him inside Penn State. And they returned 3 starting tackles, Nolan Rucci, Anthony Dunco, and Drew Shelton. Their O-line is loaded. Their second-string O-line would probably still be one of the better O-lines in college football. Not an elite one, maybe not even a great one, but it'd be better than a lot of starting O-lines in the Big Ten and the SEC, and that's saying something. Phil Trotween's done an amazing job there, and they only allowed Allar to get sacked 19 times last year. They had some issues in pass protection. They were elite in run blocking, and with all that returning production, they'll get better at run blocking in my mind. They'll get even better at pass blocking too. Singleton had 1,099 rushing yards for 6.4 yards per carry, 12 rushing touchdowns. He also had 375 receiving yards and 5 receiving touchdowns on 41 receptions. They used him a lot as a receiver out of the backfield last year. Andy Kotelnicki and his staff and Penn State did. I think he's going to have an even bigger year this year, if healthy. And he was sick for parts of last year and dinged up. Katron Allen had 1,108 rushing yards, 5 yards per carry, and 8 touchdowns. In total, Penn State ran for 5.3 yards per carry last year, for 35 touchdowns, and for 3,237 rushing yards. There is a great chance, given all the potential games they could play in, 16 games, even 17 games, and with all those offensive linemen returning, the running backs returning, even the depth running backs returning, and with Allar likely continuing to get stronger, faster, and leaner, there's a chance this team could run for more than 4,000 yards. There's a chance of that. They could be that dominant on the ground. So I think the rushing offense will be better. The passing offense I still think will be great. I think it'll be much more effective than it was in 2024 by a mile. But the rushing offense will improve too. And I love what I see from Nicholas Singleton, Katron Allen. I like what I see from Corey Smith, Quinion Martin Jr. I love the room, the running back room, and the offensive line. And I think the tight ends are really good blockers too, and there should be better blocking at wide receiver as well. This offense for Penn State could be the best offense in college football. It won't be 2019 LSU stylistically. It won't in terms of having those elite receivers. It won't be 2021 Ohio State in that regard either, or the 22 Buckeyes, or even last year's Ohio State. But what it could be, what this offense could be, is think about Michigan's 2022 rushing offense. Think about it. Except Singleton is probably a better NFL back than either of those. So think about potentially Saquon Barkley in 2022 Michigan's offensive line group and tight end group, where they averaged well over 5 yards per carry. And then Katron Allen's better than Donovan Edwards. And then imagine that situation, basically the 2022 Michigan offense, the rushing offense, with a 2023 level Michigan passing offense, where they converted third downs very effectively, had a wide receiver in Roman Wilson who at least got drafted on day 2, maybe several day 2 guys. It's probably a better wide receiver than Michigan's in 2023. Maybe it's the equivalent of Ohio State's in 2023 when Ibuka was injured. Maybe, 3 great wide receivers or 3 good ones make up for 1 elite one kind of thing. Not going to exactly make that comparison, but the 23 Michigan offense was incredible efficiency-wise. The 22 rushing offense was incredible, although not the passing offense. That was wildly inconsistent. If you combine the best of both worlds there, and then maybe took the average of Michigan and Ohio State's 2023 wide receiver rooms, so a better wide receiver room than Michigan had in 23, but worse than what Ohio State had because they don't have a Marvin Harrison Jr., that's what I think this Penn State offense could be. And that, I think, would project as the country's best offense, depending on how Clemson pans out, depending on how Ohio State pans out. But even then, they return a lot more than Ohio State does. And while they return less than Clemson, they're much more secure along the offensive line than Clemson is, and much more secure at running back. They will be better able to run a balanced attack on offense than Clemson will be. So this will be an elite offense this year. I have no doubts about that. And I think the rushing offense will have more to do with that. But on third downs and when they need to convert, I do think the passing offense will work their magic, especially with Trevor Pena, Devontae Ross, and then Drew Allar being in the second year of Andy Kotelnicki's system.